Hello everyone. I am here to do a collaboration, which I'm so excited about. So this is a collaboration started by Tania Bomar at Tatty Treasures. And the idea is to do a start to finish, use up an entire Reader's Digest journal. And we're each taking 16 pages. And I have, my puppy is crying out there. And I have pages 131 to 147. So those are my pages. I just ripped them out of a Reader's Digest that I already had the book block for. Let's see. This is what I have left of that particular book block. And I have several of them because I have done a lot of Reader's Digest journals, and I've used the covers, which are fabulous. They're just like a perfect size. And then I have a lot of leftover book blocks. So this is a fabulous exercise. So what I'm thinking is that I would like to do some leaf ephemera, seeing as how it's fall. I've got my flannel shirt on. It finally got into the 40 at night. I don't know what that is in centigrade. 40 degrees. It's probably, I don't know, like in the around, I don't know, 10 maybe? I don't know. But anyway, it's lovely and it's fall feeling, and I've been seeing a lot of people do some leaf ephemera lately. So this is what I'm going to do. So I've got two ideas of using some stamps and coloring them, and maybe doing some die cuts and coloring them. And that way, if you don't have a die cut machine, I think a lot of people have some kind of leaf stamp. If you don't have either of those things, you could always print out a leaf image onto cardstock on a printer, and then cut it out and use it as template and trace around it. But I think a lot of us have leaf stamps, so I'm hoping that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do first, okay, so I also have scissors, I have glue. I'm going to use fabric tack just because it dries quickly. And then I'm going to use my die cuts and my die cut machines. I have some stamp blocks, and I have some stuff for coloring. I thought I might try using these. I have these distress stains in daubers, which are water-based, and I just think it's a real shame that they don't make these anymore. I really like these. I have all of my distress inks in front of me. I grabbed my my watercolor set for coloring things in, so I may use that. And I also grabbed some watercolor crayons. Now, these are just really inexpensive ones that I might use as well. And I also have some highlights. I have Van Gogh watercolor 805 in copper and 803 in deep gold. Are those two in case I want some highlights. And yeah, so let's see how this goes. So the very first thing, I'm going to put all these things to the side, and the very first thing I think I'm going to do is, and I don't know if this is going to be, if you're going to think this is cheating or not, I don't know, but because this paper is lovely paper, but it's not super thick, I was thinking I would divide it into pairs and glue the pairs together to get a slightly thicker paper. So that was, yeah, that was 131 to 147. So that gives us, why was I thinking I was going to give us more paper than that? That gives us 4 doubles and 1 single. And we can totally do this single as a single, and that way we can compare what the double to the single is like. So I am just going to glue these together. Is this even open? This one's not even open. Wrong one. That's my backup. So I haven't made, I'm actually doing this ahead. Today is September, I think it's the 17th. It's a Saturday. And I haven't done, this is going to air at the beginning of October. And I haven't actually done a video in quite a while because I teach high school, as some of you may know. And we went back to school. And oh my goodness, making that transition, got a glue spreader. That transition from summer schedule to school schedule is rough because we have to get up so early. We have to be on duty at 7:10 in the morning, but we always aim to get there. My husband and I teach at the same school, and we commute together, which is fabulous. So we aim to get there by 6:30 so that we have some time to, you need some time to set things up in the morning, to get your head on and to figure out what you're doing. And especially because we all have to cover and substitute teach so much because there aren't enough subs to go around. So it's really, so we really do have to get, so that means we have to leave the house by 6, and we both shower in the morning, and we both have our coffee and make our lunches. So we've been getting up like at 4:30, it's 4:35, but then we have a puppy, and the puppy sleeps in our college daughter. Our daughter lives at home and commutes to college. And so she sleeps in the puppy sleeps in her room. And the puppy has not gotten on board with the idea that we would like to sleep in until at least 4:30, if you can call it sleeping in. So the puppy's been waking up really early. So my daughter takes her outside and then lets her in to our room, and she jumps into bed with us. So it has been a very, very sleep deprived couple of weeks. It's like having a baby again, but it's okay. Her name is Sandy, and she is a husky mix. We have a husky mix already, an older dog. He's almost 6, and they're both from Great Dog Rescue New England, and they're both were actually rescued and fostered by the same woman in Tennessee. So yeah, so they're from the same place in Tennessee, and they get rescued and vetted and neutered, and then they ship them up to Massachusetts, and there's this big fabulous adoption day where you go to this place in Woburn, and all the cars are lined up down the block waiting to pick up their new puppies. And okay, I'll get back to that in a second. So we have, these still have a little bit of the glue on the spine, but that's okay because I think we're not going to wind up using that. So now this feels like a much more substantial piece of paper. So let's do the stamping first, since that seems to be a little like the ubiquitous, everybody has some kind of stamp. So I definitely want some maple leaves, because that is such an iconic leaf of fall, at least here in New England. It's actually not supposed to be a fabulous fall color year, because we had such, I'm just turning around, I forgot to grab my ink. We had such a horrid drought all summer long. We had no rain. And usually when you have, this is Stays On Jet Black. And usually when you have no rain, the trees are all stressed because there's a drought, and they don't go through the fabulous colors because it takes a lot of energy to make all those pigments. I think I'm gonna keep it in pretty kind of inside the text because I want mostly text. I suppose I should have a stamping off page. Here, I'll do this. I'll make some guest checks. So this is a pile of guest checks that I got at Walmart years ago, and I just went through and brushed coffee on every page and left it like that to dry. So I've got this great stack now. I like that. So I've got, oh, you know what? I need a baby wipe. Excuse me for just a second. Here I was thinking I was all prepared. Okay, I'm gonna wipe that off. And then I'm going to move on to, and I'm using StazOn, I should say. I chose to use a StazOn rather than a Distress ink because the Distress ink will reactivate with the water from the colors, from the watercolors. So, okay, so there's that. And let's do this oak type leaf here. So I was telling you about the puppy. Yeah, so when the day we picked her up, and since we've been through this organization before to get our main dog, it was kind of an expedited process, which I really appreciated. And so you go to they bring all the dogs to, like, they have this converted warehouse in Woburn, Massachusetts, and there's a long line, and they bring the dogs out one by one. It was really fun. It was so cute, and you have all these excited families picking up their puppies, and there were a lot of babies. It was very fun. Good day. Let's see, I have this one. Isn't this interesting? These look really similar. Different companies, actually. This is a Tim Holtz. I'm not sure who this is, but it's still a lovely leaf and a lovely size. So I'll do this one. And I think this one will fit as well. Oops, helps you have it right the right way around. Okay. And then my thought is that once you get these all colored, we can cut them out. And that way it's a good choice if you don't have a die cut machine. There are options. When I first started out, it took me quite a while to purchase a die cut machine because it's kind of a big bulky thing. I mean, I absolutely love it, and I think it's highly worth getting. I have the Big Shot, but it is a big purchase, and I think I got it for a present. I had my family get it for me one year. Okay, one more here. I think this one will fit just there. Okay, so let's do that. Excellent. And I'll put that off to the side for a moment. And I'll do 2 sheets that are stamped. And I'll do, oh, you know what? Oops. Messy desk. Yeah, I have a plan. I'll let you know in a second. Let's do this really big one. It doesn't even fit properly on my stamp platform. I guess if I go diagonal. So yeah, so that was right before school started. That was a month ago. Have we had her for a month? Maybe. It was the end of August. And it was the weekend before the last week in August. And my daughter, who I said she's almost 21, lives at home and commutes because she wanted to save money, didn't want to go into debt in college because she wants to buy a horse. So she had a whole week with her at home when my husband and I started school. Our son went away to college this year. He's a freshman. And I wasn't stamping off, was I? And he hasn't met her yet. We'll be seeing him tomorrow because we have to go up and bring him some stuff and take home some stuff. And so she had a week with her at home, and that was a really good kind of adjustment for her. And then she also, my daughter has, the puppy's a girl. My daughter also has, let's see, I have to pick another one. Let's do some of these small ones, see if we can fit a bunch of these on together. There we go. What was I saying? Right, so my daughter isn't gone all day, so that works out well too. So sometimes there are some days where we're all gone a lot, but most of the time, you know, there's somebody here except for a couple hours during the day. And when no one's here, we've been keeping her in a crate. Each dog has a really big crate. The older dog doesn't have to be crated because he really is such a good boy. He just sleeps on the couch or in the chair, hangs out. We do have a fenced-in backyard, but we don't really want to leave them out there unless someone's home to make sure everything's okay. I don't know, maybe it's silly, but we don't. We also would have to leave the back door open. And we're not really comfortable doing that. Let's see, can I fix that? That was not that one. That was that one. It's probably a mistake. Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. I think it's okay if these are a little abstract and not perfectly stamped. Okay, so those are our stamped ones. Just give those a wipe. Put those to the side. Oh, and you know what? Let's do half. That's what I was going to do. Let's do half of this this is the single page, so we'll do half of this die cut and half of it stamped, and we'll do another maple leaf, and that way we'll see how the single sheet compares to the doubled up sheet. I think that multi one didn't work as well because the two types of stamps are different thicknesses. And I'll see if I can get that just on text, because I think that will look nice. And then once you get these all to your liking, you can either fussy cut them or fussy tear them, depending on what your journal style is. Ta-da! Oh, shoot, you know what? I have a stamp platform that I always forget to use. I should have used the stamp platform. That's okay. If you have a stamp platform, this would work very well on a stamp platform. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say stamp platform, I don't have the Tim Holtz one. I have this one, which I forget what it's called. Oh, here it is, right here. It is a Misty. Can you see that? M-I-S-T-I. And the idea is that you put your paper here, you magnet your papers here together, you stick your stamp on this side, and you can go back and forth and repeat stamp in the exact same place. But again, I always forget to use it. It's a very cool thing. I don't know. I'm just menopause brain. Okay, die cut. So here we go. Oof. Here is my die cut machine. Put these out of the way. this out of the way. And I have a Sizzix Big Shot. And I've never done this on camera before, I don't think, that I can think of. Here, we'll start with the half sheet of the, what is that called? It is a book page. And these are my dies. These are various and sundry Tim Holtz dies, and I store them on these magnetic sheets. And these magnetic sheets I just got off of Amazon, and they fit into a 3-ring binder. I don't know if it's the best method. It works okay. I'm fairly happy with it. But these die cuts have some similar shapes. So I'm going to put that one down, and I will put this little maple leaf down, and then I have an oak leaf, and I will do those first. And again, I'm going to try and focus on the text area. So I have this, the platform is all the layers of the platform. I have the plastic sandwichy bit, and then I'm going to do the other plastic sandwichy bit right there. And then I'll give it a little help to start. And then I'm just going to run it through. Oh, you know what? I wonder if I should have colored it first. That's okay. We're going to go with the coloring it second. Okay, and then where's my awl? There, I have some cute little texty leaves. And the nice thing about Reader's Digest is you really don't have to worry too much about bad words. Some like cheap books that you get from the dollar store often have bad words in it. But Reader's Digest is pretty well digested, and you don't have to worry. Okay, so that was the single layer. And now I have my doubled up layer that I glued with the Fabri-Tac. Okay, so let's switch out the dies. And let's do, I really want to do this one because it reminds me, this one reminds me a lot of this stamp. So I'm going to see what that looks like. Maybe that will be comparable. And let's do this one and this one and this one. These ones don't cut out the outline of the shape. They only cut out it's like if you had a page and you wanted a leaf shape to see through, it would keep it in the page. So I'm not going to use that for this. And this one, because I used that one before. Will this fit? Just. Okie dokie. Let's do another run through. And I do always run them through twice. I don't know if it's really a necessary thing, but it's how I roll. You know, you get into a pattern of doing things, and that's how we do it. Oh, what did I do with my awl? Okay. Poke it out. Okay, so this feels so much sturdier than this. This is super flimsy. This has a little bit of substance to it, and I do prefer, oh, all right, so this is going to be, I probably really should have, that may be a mistake. We'll see. I was just thinking I probably ought to have done the colors first on the die cuts and then dyed it, because you have to poke out all these little holes. But it does come out looking very cool. And this would be such a cool embellishment on a tag or a window or you could even include it as part of a collage. In fact, if you're doing collage, you might actually prefer the thinner layer. That's something to think about. Okay, and then this one, poke all the holes out. I'm sorry. I apologize if this is boring to watch me poke the things out. I'm very bad at figuring out how to make things go fast forward because I don't have a proper editing software. All I have is iMovie. And usually I just, and even in iMovie, I only have it on my phone. I don't have a Mac. Yeah, I don't have a good editing system, so I apologize. And then this one is bigger pieces to poke. And then poke the thing. There we go. That's cool. You can just see some letters here and there. Can you guys see that? How's that? Yeah, I don't know. I like that. I really like that effect of the book page die cuts. So we should be starting to see some color here soon. It's still pretty green. I guess that happens more, well, it's almost October. That's true. I was going to say that happens more in October, but it really is almost October. And when you're watching this, it will be October. Just it flies by. It's so crazy. The one downside to fall is that my husband and I did a lot of ocean swimming this summer. It was great. We swam at least a mile in the ocean because we live right by the coast just about every day. And that was fabulous. We could go. The nice thing about that is that you don't have to wait for pool times. And I'm sure you could find uses for this too. Like you might be able to cut out that. So I'll save that one. And maybe we'll play a little bit with that negative space. All right, last one. Let's bring these dies back in. I haven't done this really big one. I'll do that big one. And then I think I'll do a few more of these, the ones that don't have all the little holes. Like so. And like so. Because that's kind of the nice thing about the text, is seeing the actual text too. Okay. Last one. Okay. Here we go. Running it through. I'm back. And the other nice bit of the more intact ones, besides having more surface, is they're easy to poke out. So a variation of this might be if you use gesso. Clear gesso would work very nicely on these, or even some white gesso. Like you could scrape some white gesso onto the book page before and let that dry before you paint. But I actually thought of that, but I thought it might all take too long to dry, and I wanted to do this all in one fell swoop. Okay, so that is all the die cutting we're gonna do. I'm just gonna stick that in there a little bit. Why is that not sticking? There we go. And it goes up on my shelf, right at arm's reach. Oh gosh. Sorry, did I make you jiggle? I had almost had an avalanche there. Okay, so I have all these pieces now. Let me just sit down because I was standing up to do that. I have all these little pieces, and I think for these little pieces, what I might do, let's actually, instead of watercoloring or painting these, I think it might be easier if we drag them through distress ink. And it might actually probably have been easier if I had prepped some of the sprays, but I didn't. So I've got some Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide. I've got peeled paint, which is one of my favorites. I have Rusty Hinge. Let's see, what do I have for yellows? I have my little stack right here. Antique Lynn is kind of yellow. I've got mostly blues. Wild Honey. Oh, and maybe some Festive Berries. Okay, so I'll put these back here. All right, so let's start with some of the greens. Let's do the greens first. I'm going to go with a little bit of Rustic Wilderness. And I'm just going to use a very little bit, and I'll spray that with some water. And I am going to spray that with some more water and just do a tiny little bit of dipping. I'm going to try and get it in the center. If I can, to be kind of like the veins. Dip, 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 dip. And the idea with this is that you wind up creating layers. Okay, so my heat gun, I'm gonna close your ears for a second or fast forward. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a hit with the heat gun. And I'm not worrying about if it's entirely dry. I just want to get some of it set so that when I put other layers on, even if some of it reacts and some of it doesn't, I think that's even better. Okay, so the next color I want to do, where was I hanging that? I'm going to do Peeled Paint. Peeled Paint is actually one of my favorite greens. It's a very yellowy green, but I find it works really, really well in like nature themed things. There's just something about it that says woodland to me. Okay, so that's a single one. And this one here is a single one. And I can really feel the difference in how they're responding. I think that one's a single. And again, I am just not going for full coverage. I'm just going for bits because I'm going to be adding the the oranges and yellows as well. So it's actually interesting about how the color in leaves happens. So those pigments are there year round. You know, all the beautiful pigments that we love to see in fall, they're there, but they're hidden under the green pigment. And the green pigment, of course, is what is responsible for photosynthesis. And the oranges and reds are present, but they last longer in the fall. After the leaf starts to die, the first leaf, the first pigment that dies off is the green. And so the other pigments are there, but they're not, they're kind of revealed by the dying green pigments. And so once the days get shorter, the tree stops photosynthesizing as much and so the pigments die off. And what's revealed underneath is the others. Okay, so let's see. Wild honey. I think I'm going to go with wild honey next. Oh, look at that. Is so much color. You can't see that, can you? Oh, thank goodness. Okay, so we are going to dip. I like how this is coming out. Dip. Yeah, so the single layers ones are starting to feel a little waterlogged. Uh-oh. Where's my tweezers? Yeah, definitely worth doubling them up for this part of it. There we go. And this one, and this one, and this one. I want some more on that one. I want some more on that one. I want some more on this one. Okay. Anything else? Maybe I'll get some on that. I want to make sure the stems get color because I had been holding them by the stems. And I'm just going to make sure those get some color on them as well. Okay. Okay, now let's just go right. We're going to skip the rusty hinge. I'm going to go right to some of this festive berries. Ah! Oh, shoot. That landed on my jeans. Oh, that's all right. That's why we wear jeans. Okay, oh my gosh, look at that. That is such a rich pigment. Okay, whoop. Oh, loving it. Whoop. Oh, fun. Fun. That's a singleton. Single layer. I need more. Oh. Okay, maybe I will... I'm gonna dredge this one. Just dredge. That was too much. That's why I added more. Did you guys catch that? Cool. Cool. Very fun. This little corner needs some like that. This is a single. It's feeling very soggy. That's a double. I can give that a good dousing. Yep, so doubling it up really does pay off in terms of sturdiness and not getting super smushed. Okay, what's missing? That one's missing some stuff at the bottom. This one's missing some stuff as well. Down that center. Ugh. That one's super delicate, even though it's doubled. Ah. Okay. Ah. Oh no. I'm worried it's gonna rip. All right. That one we're gonna have to wait and have it dry. This one needs some more at the base on that leaf. And right there. That one's good. Oh, that one actually turned out good. This one has a white bit right there. Okay. And there. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna not waste that. Okay. And set that over here to dry. And you know what? I'm going to take this stamp and I'm going to, this is a single piece of paper, and I'm just going to soak up some of that excess. Should have been doing that all along, shouldn't I have? Because how cool does that look? You could just back that and make it a pocket. Okay. So I'm just gonna drag those to the edges of my desk for a few minutes, and we're gonna work on the other ones. And I'm just gonna let these kind of dry along the margins while we bring in the stamps. Okay. Okay, so let's do this one while we got it started. And I think that, what did I do with the little bin of distress daubers? They were right here. What did I do with them? I put them to the side someplace. Ah, right here. Okay, so let's do some forest moss. So these are distress stains. They're not oxides. And I found these on eBay. So I think it is possible. Oh, I've never used this one. And this is mustard seed. And crushed corduroy. Does need a little bit of red, doesn't it? More red. Here, let's just pick up some of that. How about some peeled paint? Ah, there we go. That's what it needed. It needed some brightening up with peeled paint. Okay, I'm going to put that aside to dry. And then once you have this like this, you can decide what you want. Do you want a fussy tear? Do you want a fussy cut? Or do you just want to back it and make it a pocket, which you totally could do. All right, so then here we have this one. So let's bring in some of our color things here. I have this set of watercolors, and it is Sennelier pour les arts couleurs fines. I don't really speak French. Okay, so I'm just going to spray these with some water, loosen them up. and pull out my brush. You know what? I forgot to grab a cup of water. That's okay. I'm just gonna wet my brush there. Okay, so let's start with some green, some really light green, and then we'll add to it. There we go. So again, I'm going to be layering color, so I'm not worrying about being super careful with this. Okay, I'm going to put some yellows on there. This is fun. This is really fun. I recommend this. I think this is probably more fun than the other. I mean, the other one's fun, but this is kind of like good old-fashioned coloring in the lines, or not so much in the lines, as the case may be. Okay, so now I want some oranges. I need that to be wetter. And if it gets a little bit muddy, that's okay, because that's what happens. That's what happens with the pigments. And that's why some trees have more orange or more red, because they naturally are producing different pigments. And again, I'm not worrying about being too careful with my lines, because what I have in my head is that I will cut these out. Okay, so let's do some red. My red is a little messy here, so I'm just going to mix it with some orange. There we go. And I want a lot of blending here, because it is a leaf, and leaves, when it comes to pigments in nature, are splotchy. Ooh, there's an idea. Red splatters. That one came out really blobby. It's okay. I'm going to cut it out. Right? I like the red splatters. Should we do some other kind of splatter? Should I do a little bit of a brown? Okay, so let's stop. Stop, Jessica, stop. Okay, we're gonna stop, and we're gonna put that to side to dry, and we're gonna bring out this one. And then we're gonna put the watercolors away, because I also have yet another option. I have, whoops, grabbed too much in my side desk pile there. So these are starting to dry. These are coming out really nice. I have some watercolor crayons. So again, I'm gonna start with this kind of base. This is kind of like a peeled paint green, actually. And then I want a darker green along the veins. And so let me grab a paintbrush, and I'm just going to have this. I'll use this. That's my water. There we go. Problem solved. And then you can just turn these crayons into watercolors, and the colors just kind of come alive as you add the water. Again, I'm not going to worry about being inside the lines because my thought is that I will cut these, or maybe I'll fussy tear them. Maybe I'll, you know, I like that. You know what? I'm going to do a wash around the edges, and then this will be my fussy tear. And it will be okay for it to be around the edges because it will look intentional. Okay, so let's see. Let's do some orange. And now that the paper's wet, I'm just going to get the color from the crayon. Using my brush. This is a much more subtle look, I think. I really like it. Okay. I think I want some proper yellow. See what happens if I add some yellow right to the page there. Oh, it works. Works very nicely. No, you know what? I'm just going to keep using my left hand to keep it kind of random. And then I can go in and smush with my brush. So that we don't have any straight lines, crayon-y lines. Okay, so I think I'm going to keep this one subtle, and I'm going to stop there. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so let's put this one aside and let this one dry a little bit. And let's bring these guys back in. So this one, these still are pretty soft. But here, let me get a piece of paper to back them with. I need a piece of paper, When you know I'm kind of out of coffee dyed paper at the moment. What do I have over here? all my piles. Here we go. Here's a piece of paper. There we go. So these are drying. They're still damp. But I think these would make some pretty fun embellishments. You could absolutely make them darker if you wanted to add some more layers. If you wanted to add some vintage photo, you could also edge them in vintage photo. So let's see, there are still some white spots in there. How do we feel about that? Let me see before I move them out of the way. They're kind of pastel-y, aren't they? Let's think about some distress inks. So inks are are clearer. See, I have pumice stone and speckled egg that are unopened. Wild honey, rustic wilderness, rusty hinge. Okay, so these are, let me just see, I'm kind of curious if I did some dips in some of these inks. What do you think? Wild honey, rustic wilderness, rusty hinge. I'm kind of leaning towards rusty hinge. Let's give that a try, because I feel like it just needs another layer. And you can see the difference right there, hopefully, that this is completely clear, whereas the oxides have some opacity to them. Oh, yeah, you know what? That just makes it a little bit more vibrant and alive. I like that. Especially on these ones that are looking kind of pastel. Let's see if we can get that. Just want to get some of these white spots. There we go. That one. And that one. Yep, that's doing it for me. And then the fact that it's an ink on top of an oxide should or can reactivate some of the oxides. Yep, like that. Here, I'm going to do a little more in the, probably not supposed to do that. I know you're yelling at me. It's all right. I'll buy more. Okay. This is one of those single layer ones. Double. This is a double. Yeah, I like that. This needs it mostly at the bottom. Yep. Yep, it's nice to also not do it over the entirety of the thing, but to let it puddle. Okay, I want more on this one. All right, so where I thought I was done, I was not. I was mistaken because it really needed a little bit more, slightly more color. And I still am considering maybe doing some, especially on these guys that are the solid ones, of maybe doing some lines, some little faint vein lines with some embossing, the heat embossing glaze. Okay, so let's look at, oh, these are great. I wonder, should I just mop up? I'll do it with half and we can compare. That make it better or worse? All right, let's put this aside. I don't think I want to touch the other one. What can I'm going to grab a guest check from my stack here. And I'm going to mop up with the guest check. Why? Let it go to waste. Okay. Stick that over there. Okay. So let's bring in that last one, which I really like. And I'm just going to, I like all the splatters. There's something about those splatters that really make it come to life. I apologize if you hate this noise. When people do this and I'm watching, I always fast forward. What do you think? Do you think we should do some white splatters? What do I have? I have some white gesso. I don't have it at my fingertips at the moment, so I'm gonna wait on that. But so let's cut this big one out. I have these cute little tiny scissors, and let's do a kiss cut. And we'll see what it looks like. You can always, like, if you are an avid fussy cutter, it's so funny. There's always that fussy cut, kiss cut, fussy tear, fussy kissy tear. Arguments pop up from time to time. And some people just love to do it. And they, you know, sit in front of the TV at night, and it's what they do. And I don't. But I don't mind this. This is good. I can handle this much. So this is, remember, a double sheet of Reader's Digest. I really do think that the double works better than the single, because I think the single just gets too waterlogged. We'll see when it's dry. Maybe I'll eat my words. I will link below, did I already say that? Some of the other projects that I've done with Reader's Digests. I've done ring bound journals. I did a Coptic stitch bound journal. I have done regular journals. Done a lot of ring bound journals. They make really good covers for ring bound journals. And as I said, the size of a Reader's Digest is just perfect for a journal. There we go. I think it needs some distress ink around the edges. I think I'm going to use the Festive Berries. Let's see. Do I have I have such a mess to the side here. It's so embarrassing. Hold on. Let me find one of these. I'm sure I have, here, Festive Berries right there. These are wine corks, and I glue a Velcro dot to the end of the wine cork, and it makes them interchangeable. And there we have some almost die cut ephemera, but without dies. So if you don't have a die cut machine, you can still do die cut style ephemera without the die cut. So that is that technique. I really like how those came out. I'll work on those more later. So that's an example of that one. And then we have, let's bring back our die cut ones here. Those are the die cut ones. I like how they came out. I like the rusty hinge. I'm glad I did the rusty hinge. Just gave it a richness that it didn't have otherwise. And then where's my other one? What did I do? Oh, here, right here. Right? So here, let's do a little bit of a fussy tear around this oak leaf. And because I have this nice wash, I'm just gonna go around the edges of that nice wash. There we go. And then here, let's use some Rustic Wilderness, or I guess that's peeled paint, to edge that. And again, you could stick this on as an embellishment of a cluster, or just a page tab, or in a pocket. So you have some really nice embellishments. This is still kind of soggy in here. You could fussy cut these. I like the fussy tear. We have a fussy cut, we have a fussy tear, we have die cuts, but there is a way to use up some of your Reader's Digest book pages and make yourself some lovely ephemera. And of course it would work with wildflower stamps and wildflower die cuts. It would work with just, you know, any kind of stamp or die cut theme. Butterflies would work really well with this. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me and sticking it out. Please, if you could, click like, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment, tell me what you think, tell me what you would have done differently. Leave me links. I love that. This is all about exchange of ideas. And thank you so much to Tania from Tatty Treasures for including me in this lovely collaboration. I hope you are all having a lovely fall and that you stay safe. Bye-bye.